hard-hitting analysis of every fight on every UFC card. This is your source for everything you need to know for your daily fantasy MMA lineup. This is Daily Fantasy Knockout. Now here's your host, Drew Dean.
Yeah, we're back at it again. UFC 203, another episode of Daily Fantasy Knockout. As always, my name is Drew Dean. I'm here with my co-host, Josh Stonewall Stillman. It's a little late for us. Josh, how you doing? You still awake on me?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. It's going to be a rough day tomorrow, though. That's for sure. Is the music still coming through, or is that just me?
No, I can't hear it. You're good to go, my friend.
All right.
All right, guys, you know the drill. We go over each fight on the card, talk about who we think is going to win, and then we look at DraftKings pricing and Las Vegas odds pricing. We do not look at the odds and the DraftKings pricing as we're doing our research, so when we read it, that's live. So without further ado, let's dive right into the first fight of the evening, and that would be, oh man, I'm starting off, Damir Hadzovic versus Yusuke Kasuya.
Wait a second. Wait, where are you?
Am I at the wrong?
Hey, man, I don't know where you are.
I'm at UFC.com. I go by the first fight.
Did they add? Oh, my goodness, that would be horrifying. What up?
Anyway.
The first fight that I had was Dober and Gonzalez.
Do you have the Kasuya fight? It doesn't look like it. Well, looks like we're going to gloss over that one. We'll look at, do you know anything about these guys offhand? That's wrong. This website's wrong because there's no odds listed. All right,
okay.
So let's start this over. First fight of the evening, Jason Gonzalez versus Drew Dober.
Okay. You had me scared there for a second. You're saying names I did not recognize. Okay, yeah, so I'll take this one. I don't really know what to make of Dober. In his last fight, he was fighting a grappler in Scott Holtzman, and he was had a wrestling clinch heavy game, despite Dober being kind of a kickboxer. He's had sort of like middling success in the UFC. He's 2-3 with one no contest. So he badly needed that win that he got at UFC 195 over Scott Holtzman, and he battles UFC newcomer Gonzalez, who was on the season of Tough with Uriah Faber and Conor McGregor, and he got eliminated. He advanced into the house or whatever from the elimination round, but then got eliminated in the round after that. So he's won a fight since then. Now he's back, given a shot in the UFC. He's 10-2. All 10 of his wins have come by finish. And I'm taking him here. I'm taking you, Gonzalez. Obviously, Dober hasn't impressed in his UFC tenure. He's sort of just a meat and potatoes kickboxer. He gets by on his well-roundedness, but he's not anything spectacular by any means. And he's gonna be at a 6-inch height advantage. I haven't seen what Gonzalez's reach is, but Gonzalez is significantly longer and has a really high volume kickboxing game. The kind of the knock on Gonzalez, and this will be kind of how Dober might be able to get a win, is despite Gonzalez's 6 submission wins on Tough, I saw him get controlled on the mat. His takedown defense is pretty good. Obviously, he's got some submission acumen of his own with 6 submissions of varying kinds to his name, but he got controlled on the mat in both of his Tough fights. So that'll be something he'll need to watch out for, because Dober showed in his last fight that he can wrestle and that he can work from top position. But I like Gonzalez to rack up points on the feet and largely stuff the takedowns and kind of keep it at range and kind of beat up Dober for a decision victory.
All right. Las Vegas is going to disagree with you. They have Drew Dober as -165 favorite and Gonzalez is +135. Over under 2.5 rounds, and it's favored to go the distance at -165. DraftKings has Dober at a whopping 11,200 and Gonzalez at 8.2. If you're on Gonzalez here, that could be some price savings and could get you a win.
Yeah, I mean, just going off the pricing and the odds alone, Gonzalez is a pretty big value. That's pretty shocking. I mean, there's definitely some risk there. Dober is favored, but I don't see him finishing. He hasn't finished. I don't know that he's finished a fight in the UFC yet. But in any case, you got to like Gonzalez for that price. I'm sorry, he actually did choke out Jimmy Varner in the first round by mistake. Apologies to Drew Dober. So he does have a finish, but he's definitely not a big finishing type dude. So I like Gonzalez at that price in really any format at 8-2 and in a close fight that I kind of like him to win in, which I think would be a lot of standout. Even Gonzalez, Dober is way too expensive, I think, to roster. That would be pretty insane.
All right, love it. Let's move on. Before we move on, Josh might sound a little quiet. It is late where we are filming, and we don't want wife character coming out and freaking out. So next fight, it's a light heavyweight bout, CB Dollaway versus Francimar Barroso. I'm going with Dollaway in this fight. We know what we're gonna get with the guy. Wrestling is his background. I believe he comes from Arizona State with Cain Velasquez was that Bader? I think it was CB because he's with DC and Cain. It couldn't have been Bader because DC hates Bader. Anyway, he's a big wrestler. He uses his wrestling to keep strikers honest. And with the threat of his wrestling and his takedowns, it opens up more opportunities on the feet. And a prime example of that was against in his fight against Michael Bisping. And I was really shocked. I don't remember watching this fight, but he showed really, really good ability at setting up his strikes by threatening with his wrestling, because Bisping, kind of was always thinking about the takedown and opened up shots on the feet. He's got big power in his hands. His striking has drastically improved over the course of his career, and he's grown as a fighter all around. He has really hard counter shots. He actually dropped Bisping in the first round of their fight, could have finished it, and he really held his own against a high-end striker in Bisping, and that's why I really like him in this fight. Francimar Barroso, when I first did research on this guy, he was just an average fighter at best. He lunges into things. He doesn't set up strikes. He loads up on his strikes. He only doesn't throw many combos. He's fairly stationary on his feet, and on the ground, he was fairly inactive from what I saw. And he fought Nikita Krylov, and I was all over Krylov the last time they fought. And Krylov actually submitted him in the second round. So the best word to describe Barroso is average, and that's why I'm going to go with Dollaway in this fight. I don't know about Dollaway's finishing ability. He could put him out on the feet because Barroso just kind of stands there. But with his stationary position, I see Dollaway taking this fight to the ground, beating him up, grinding on top of him, and I think he I think he runs away with a decision in this fight.
Let's be real quick. Francimar Barroso is straight up terrible. He's got to be like one of the worst fighters ever to start his UFC career 3-1 before running into Krylov. He's just bad, and he's even worse to watch. So you got to root for Dollaway here. You got to think he's more skilled, definitely as a striker, and it's been interesting to see him move up to light heavyweight after losing 3 in a row. He's coming off a pretty brutal knockout loss to Nate Marquardt in a fight that he was winning, and before that he lost to Bisping and Machida. But I don't think Barroso is on that level. So, yeah, I agree with you here. Looking at the odds, Dollaway's minus 185 favorite, and Barroso is plus 160. The over-under is at 2.5 rounds, and the over is at minus 155. For the prices, Dollaway comes in at 10.9K, and Barroso is at 8.5.
Okay. I think Vegas is giving him a little too much credit in this one. I think this is Dollaway's fight by a landslide. And in terms of the pricing on DraftKings, 10-9, I expect a finish out of that. Could he finish him on the feet? Sure, but I don't know if I want to take that risk. Cash game play, GPP, what do you think?
I guess I would kind of have to see how the rest of the card stacks out in terms of like prices and odds and everything before I say about cash. I think I'd think about Dalloway and GUPs. I think that, but like you said, Boho is really stationary, and Dalloway can hit hard. And now moving up to light heavyweight, he should have a pronounced speed advantage, I think. And Boho's is sort of like fallback is his wrestling, and he's not going to be able to out wrestle Dalloway. So, yeah, I like Dalloway here. We'll see how the rest of the card shakes out. Maybe we can circle back to this if we remember, talk about whether cash makes sense or not. But I'm with you, Dalloway all the way.
All right, good stuff. Let's move on to the next fight. Yancy Medeiros versus Sean Spencer.
Crud. Was this mine?
I think so. I know we switched up on one of them, but I can dive in on this one if you would, please, if you'd rather.
No, I guess we'll just kind of do it together then. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, Medeiros. He's kind of a long kickboxer, and Spencer is a boxer, pretty much primarily. But Medeiros is kind of there to be countered a good bit. He can kind of get a little bit wild, but he definitely packs more power than Spencer does. Spencer's coming off the TKO loss to Mike Pyle. I think it was fight of the night in his last outing, while Medeiros is coming off a decision loss to Francisco Trinaldo. So I think both of those were actually fight of the night. So this could be a good shot, good pairing. They're the Fight Pass headliner, I think. I think this is sort of like a risk-reward type of fight. Like, I think Spencer is like the smarter play. He's like the, like I should say the safer play, perhaps. I think if the fight goes to decision, I think it's his. I think he racks up points on the feet with his like crisper, more technical boxing. But Medeiros is a threat to finish because he's got just big time power, and I think that's sort of how we want to play here. I think the pick is going to end up being close. I'll go Medeiros, I guess. I'll go Medeiros by third round TKO. Do you have an opinion, anything you want to chime in with here?
Not really. I'm kind of in the same page as you. I'm looking at Vegas odds. Medeiros is a -130 favorite to Sean Spencer at 100. Fairly close, borderline coin flip, in my opinion. It's favored to go over 2.5 rounds at -135. So Vegas likes a decision or third round finish from Medeiros.
Yeah.
Let me jump in and do DraftKings here. Medeiros is 10,500 and Sean Spencer is 8,900.
Yeah. So I think that kind of goes back to what I was talking about. I think that Spencer, for his cheap price tag, you could play in cash potentially. Like, he's so cheap, and this should be like pretty much a stand-up battle. If he can survive till the final bell, I think he can give you a return, especially if he can pull out the decision. I think he that's sort of where he kind of falls. Medeiros is going to be a guy that you probably want to like have some exposure to in GBPs, but I don't think you can play in cash in such a close fight for his price tag.
All right. If you're good on that, I'm good on that.
Sure.
The next fight of the evening is on Fox Sports 1 prelim starting at 8 p.m. We have Uncle Creepy Ian McCall versus Ray Borg, the Taz Mexican Devil.
That's a sweet nickname, but I think I'm going with McCall in this fight, but with some big-time reservations. McCall, like for months before he was scheduled to fight at UFC 201 against Justin Scoggins, was talking about how injuries had been piling up on him for a while, and he was like thinking about he might not even ever fight again. And so that's obviously got to be concerning coming into a fight against an up-and-comer like Ray Borg. Borg is only 20, how old is he? 23. Borg is only 23. And he's already got, I don't know, 5 fights in the UFC or something. He's 3-2 or 4-2 or something like that. So I think I think Uncle Creepy's definitely got the skill advantage, but my concern is, does he have the does he still have the athleticism that he's going to need to kind of keep up with Borg here? I say yes because I don't think Borg makes a very dangerous opponent for Uncle Creepy. I think it's when I first heard it announced, I was like, oh man, like this might not be a great fight for McCall, but Borg's best attributes are on the ground, and that's actually also where McCall's at his best, is on the ground. And I think McCall's got a stand-up advantage, and his tricky movement, I think, is going to help him prevent Borg from shooting or from getting in on his hips for a double leg, which is like where he's really, really good. Borg is at getting it to the ground, and I just don't see him being able to work over McCall on the ground like he was able to, like Jean Herrera. So I like McCall to get the better of the stand-up and take a decision. But like I said, those injuries, he could be shot at this point. We'll have to see.
Las Vegas has Ian McCall as a -130 favorite, and Ray Borg is +100. The over-under is at 2.5 rounds, and it's favored to go over 2.5 at -220. DraftKings, wow, that's off. Ray Borg is at 10,400, and McCall is at 9,000.
All right, well, there you go. You got to like McCall in cash, especially. I think he's like a fantastic cash play. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think that's probably the bet there. It's kind of hard to see a finish either way here, as the line indicates on that. So I think McCall with cash, I think that's the play. I think maybe if you think McCall is completely shot, Borg might be a stinky GPP play, despite like the odd discrepancy. If McCall is just like hurt and I don't know, Borg's able to take him out with something, body shots, or just kind of like wear him out by attrition, he might be able to get a finish there. But I don't think McCall would be here if he was in that bad of shape. So I think McCall's the pick here.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly easy pick. McCall will probably be in the majority of my cash games because he's a favorite and he's cheap. So, all right, let's move on to the next fight on Fox Sports 1. The Carney, Nick Lentz versus the rookie, Michael McBride.
All right, so we got another only 2 UFC newcomers on this card, which is pretty unusual. Usually we're like talking about how, I don't know, we've got like 5 or 6 new people that we've got to like research, but McBride is one of the only 2, and I think he's got kind of a tough road to hoe here against Lentz, because what McBride does well, Lentz does better, basically. McBride wants to wrestle, and he wants to work submissions. He's got, I think, all 8 of his wins are by submission. He's 8-1, and all his wins are by submission. But he's coming in on short notice because Erbak Taisimov had visa issues. And let me see, when did McBride come in? Like, not very long ago. Like a week ago. So he's not had a lot of time to prepare, which is not good. And he hasn't fought in, I think, 9 months. So who knows if he was actually in shape or in fight camp or whatever. But anyway, if you're going to try to out-grind, out-wrestle, out-grapple Nick Lentz, you better be one of the elite. And I don't think, obviously, McBride is in that conversation. So I like Lentz to grind out a decision. Maybe he gets kind of a late submission, because I think he's going to be kind of owning stuff on the ground for most of the fight.
All right. Las Vegas has Nick Lentz as a -400 favorite.
Whoa.
McBride comes in at +300. The over-under is at 2.5 rounds, and the over is favored at -165. DraftKings, Nick Lentz is 10,200, and McBride is 9,200. At that price point, 10,200 for such a huge favorite, you got to think that's going to be one of the more popular plays in the card.
Yeah. Again, definitely a cash play there. Massive favorite for pretty cheap. And what is his – I mean, regardless of what his finish odds are, if he's that much of a favorite, you could even throw him in GBPs, I think. Lentz inside distance. Lentz inside distance is only at +160, which isn't that bad. So, yeah, Lentz, I think, is good to go in all formats.
All right, let's move on to the next fight. Brad Tavares versus, I always mess this up, Magahales. Is that how you say it?
Something like that. Magalhães, I don't know. I forget too.
Magahales. All right. I'm going to go with Tavares in this fight, and here's why. I think he's an all-around great fighter. He's got huge leg kicks. He's known for tearing up his opponent's outside left legs. He's a kickboxer with high-end talent. He's got knockout power in his hands. He is rarely knocked out or TKO'd. He got popped by Robert Whittaker with that little sneaky left hand that he throws. But aside from that, the guy doesn't really go down too often. He's got good combos. He sets up everything with his lead jab. Sometimes he lacks urgency, but he's an all-around great fighter in my opinion. He's got a good sprawl. Tim Bosch tried to take him down a few times, and he fought it off. Up against the cage, he was very, very comfortable. And he was very, very tough to take down, like almost impossible to take down. Looking at Miocic, most recently he was TKO'd by Josh Simon early in the first. He's a BJJ black belt, and he fights with Glover Teixeira's team. He even holds his hands up like Teixeira when he fights. Excuse me. He had a difficult time closing the distance on Simon. But when he did get inside, he had huge power in his hands. He's a strong counterpuncher. And he's one of those guys that gets in the pocket and just brawls. He throws a wide array of kicks and punches and from different angles. And the reason I'm going with Brad Tavares in this fight is because I think Tavares is a smarter fighter and a more all-around fighter. And Miocic, he throws everything he has into his punches, and in almost every fight that I watched, he gassed out. And you don't have that problem with Tavares. So I see this being kind of a war. I see Tavares staying out of the pocket and striking from distance and weathering the storm from Miocic until he gasses out in the second and third round. And I see Tavares finishing this fight in the late second, early third round.
All right. Vegas agrees with you here. Tavares is the minus 185 favorite. I also really like Tavares. I think he's like a really good all-round middleweight type dude. Definitely like above average for middleweight. So I'm with you there. So Tavares minus 185. Magalhães is the plus 160 underdog. The over-under is at 1.5 rounds, and the over is at minus 200. So they're sort of with you there on the late second, early third type of finish. On DraftKings, we got where'd it go? Tavares is at 9,800 and Magalhães is at 9,600. So not too bad of a price for Tavares.
No, and I'm going to play him in every format. I think cash game and GPPs for $9,800. That's where I expect a mid-round to third round finish. I think that's pretty cut and dry. I think I'm going to have him in cash games and my GPPs as well. Cool.
I'm with that. What's up next?
All right, the last fight on the FS1 prelim is Jessica Evil Eye versus Beth Pitbull Correa. So, from what I remember from Beth Correa, obviously it was the whole Ronda Rousey hyping, blah, 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 blah. That's really all I've seen on her before doing research. And I'm going to go with Jessica Eye in this fight via decision. I think she's a higher-end striker. She has a boxing-centered approach. She throws some leg kicks here and there. Some of the issues I did see on her feet, though, is she doesn't have great head movement. Sometimes she's a little flat-footed, so she can be taken down. When she fought Sarah McMahon, she was tentative, like I said. She was scared of that takedown. In the clinch, she grapples for position against the cage. She's good at hitting punches off the breaks. She throws knees to the body. And I think she's a decent fighter. She needs a win in this fight. This is a really tough fight for me to call. Correa, grappling is her forte. You know, she's a really good dirty boxer against the fence. She shines when the fight gets ugly, as Joe Rogan said. when she fought Raquel Pennington, she didn't shoot for any takedowns because Pennington fought at range, and I could see her shooting for a takedown against Ai if Ai gets in close, but I think Ai strikes from a distance and outpoints her on the cards. I could see Correa taking this fight if she storms Ai and takes her to the ground and beats her up, but I really think if Jessica Ai farts. Oh my God. I think if Jessica Ai fights smart and uses her striking to her advantage, I think she wins this fight via decision.
All right. Flatulence aside, Vegas agrees with you here. Jessica Ai is the -145 favorite, and Besh Correa is +125 underdog. It's the over-under is at 2.5 rounds, and the over is at -275. So probably the fight on the card most likely to go the distance. Ai comes back at 10,100 on DraftKings, and Correa is at 9,300. So can you pay 10,100 for Ai, or is that too much?
That's too much for me just because I don't see her finishing Correa. I think I'm going to fade this fight in both formats, to be quite honest with you. Maybe throw Correa in a GPP because she's that cheap, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. This might be one of the I think it's going to be a little bit kind of a sloppy kickboxing, grappling fest where they're like so even, it's hard for one to get an advantage and really take over. So probably I'm with you on that, fading the fight. So on to the main card.
Main card, first fight of the evening on the main card is Jessica Andrade versus Joanne Calderwood.
All right, so I'm going with Andrade in this fight. Since she dropped down from bantamweight 135, she dropped down in her last fight to strawweight, and we saw that she looked good. The cut didn't look like it had a negative effect on her. On the contrary, it looked like it made her even more beastly. She was she's very short for either division, whether we're talking about she's super short for bantamweight, she's still short for strawweight, but she's always been super ridiculously strong, and that's magnified a lot at strawweight. She beat the brakes off Jessica Penne in her last fight, and Penne might be kind of a smaller strawweight, but still, like, she had her way with her completely, didn't have to respect her striking, was just pretty much able to tee off at will, could pressure. And so I like her in this fight because I don't think that Calderwood matches up with her very well. I think Calderwood's probably the more skilled fighter all around. Perhaps, I don't know, their ground game is probably more or less a wash, I think. According to their Wikipedia pages, I don't know how accurate this is, but Calderwood is blue belt in BJJ and Andrade is purple belt. And both of them have looked sloppy on the ground at times. When Calderwood does have some nice trip takedowns from the clinch, but once she gets top position, she doesn't really do a whole lot with it. She kind of like, I don't know, mild ground and pound, occasional pass attempts, doesn't really do a whole lot, just kind of like uses it to rack up points with top position. Andrade, but I think the problem there is that Andrade is also very strong in the clinch, and I don't think that Calderwood's going to be able to get her down very easily at all. And Calderwood's other strengths are, well, clinch striking, but again, she's dealing with a much stronger person, I think, in Andrade, and pressuring. She does a really good job. Calderwood does a really good job of pushing people to the fence with like teeps and low kicks, and then once she's got them like kind of corralled, then she can kind of go to work with her full arsenal of striking. She can like really string her punches together, throw in some occasional spinning stuff. That's where she really does her best work, but I think she's really going to have a hard time pressuring Andrade to the fence. That's more Andrade's forte, having the giant strength and power advantage that she's going to enjoy. So I like Andrade to take a decision by bullying her way, kind of forward, keeping Calderwood on her back foot a lot. Calderwood's also pretty hittable in the pocket. She kind of gets upright. She's good from long range, but when she doesn't really do a good job moving her head once things kind of get in close, she tries to grab onto the clinch. But she's really upright, so I could even see a finish here for Andrade, but I'm going to go take her, the Brazilian, by decision.
All right, Las Vegas has Jessica Andrade at minus 140. Calderwood comes in at plus 110. Over-under is 2.5 rounds. It's favored to go over at minus 175. DraftKings, Calderwood comes in at 9,500, and Andrade comes in at 9,900.
Yeah. So for that, I'd consider playing Andrade in either format. I like her to really rack up points, and I think a finish is possible there for her, though I don't think super likely, but I think that she'll be able to rack up enough points in a decision to make her worthwhile in GBPs anyway, potentially. Calderwood might be would have to be kind of a sneaky GBP play for me. But it's kind of hard for me to envision a finish there for her. I'm trying to see if she has very many submission wins, and the answer is no. She's got none. So that doesn't seem very likely. Because Andrade in the past has gotten sloppy when she gets top position. When she knocked down Marion Renaud, she dove into like a triangle attempt, got out, and then dove right back into another one, and then got finished. So Andrade is no wizard on the ground, but that doesn't look like it's Calderwood's forte either. So, yeah, I like Andrade here in really either format for that price.
All right, let's move on. The California Kid, Uriah Faber versus Jimmy Rivera. Man, I've been going back and forth in this fight, and I really think I'm going to go with Rivera. You know what you get with Uriah Faber. You know, he's Team Alpha Male, he's a wrestler. His gas tank is never in question. I'm not too sold on his striking. He just kind of relies on that overhand right. Dominic Cruz called him out, and he was kind of right about that. Rivera, he likes to push the pace. He's been on a tear of late. He just decisioned Yuri Alcantara. He's a really good boxer. He throws a bunch of combinations to the head, to the body, lots of volume. He has big power in his hands. On the feet, he's very solid defensively, and with Faber's limited striking game, in my opinion, I don't want to say limited, but lesser striking game.
Yeah, limited.
It's going to be
limited's
tough.
fair. I mean, at this point, he's not super diverse. You're right. I mean, the overhand right is his biggest weapon, but so yeah.
Right. So Rivera's got a good chin. Some of the things that could pose as a problem for him, he throws leg kicks, and they tend to get caught more often than they should. In the grappling department, he scrambles well. Haven't seen much of his offensive wrestling, but I don't think he wants to play that game with Faber. Like I said, I really like both these guys. Faber has the name. Rivera is this up-and-comer. So I'm going to go with Rivera in this fight. I think he's really aggressive. He's talented in the striking game, especially boxing. And I think, Uriah Faber, I don't want to say he's washed up, but I mean, he's not the same elite Uriah Faber we used to see. Would I be surprised seeing Faber, have a fight of the night and, win by a decision? Absolutely. But I think I'm going to go with Rivera in this one. And I don't want to say he finishes Faber because I don't think that happens. I'm going to go with Rivera via decision.
All right. We really are going back and forth on that one because your pick in our note document where we keep a lot of research and stuff said you were going with Faber.
Yeah,
so you really are going back and forth. All right. So the odds makers are with you there. Rivera is the minus 135 favorite, and Uriah Faber comes back at plus 115. The over-under is at 2.5 rounds, and the over is at minus 190. I'm curious to see who has the better finish prop here. I bet it's Faber.
For a late submission or something.
Yeah, actually, no. Rivera inside distance is plus 275, and Faber's inside distance is at plus 388. That is surprising to me. But in any case, on DraftKings, they are both 9,700 even. So what do you think the play is here?
It's risky for cash games. Could we stack it in cash?
That's a good question.
Excuse me. I think if you're going to play, I just don't know. how many points Faber's going to rack up, because if he wins, he's going to need to take the fight to the ground. And man, this is a tough call.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'll have a ton of exposure to this one because you're not really getting a big value on either guy. And if Faber's trapped on the feet, he probably doesn't score very much. If Rivera gets taken down, he probably doesn't score very much. So the finish doesn't seem super likely from either guy. So I don't know. You could You could sprinkle in either of them in GPPs, I guess, if you think that Uriah Faber's chin is shot after he got dacked by Dominic Cruz in his last fight, or if you think that he still has got some magic left and he can pull off one of his patented guillotines or take Rivera's back and get a submission or something, then maybe these are just a sprinkling of GPP play, but it's hard to really take either of these guys in cash. I don't know about stacking it again because this isn't really, it's not a 5-rounder and it's not one where we're like pretty much guaranteed to get a lot of output, So I don't think that I would be stacking in cash, but I don't know. We'll see when we start throwing lineups together.
All right, yeah, I like your thought process. Sorry, I got distracted there. I had to talk to somebody real quick.
Cool.
Let's move on to the next fight of the evening. The one they've been hyping up for a long time, CM Punk versus Mickey Gall.
All right. I don't know that there's – it's kind of hard to come up with a whole lot to say here because Punk literally has, no fight footage to review other than, the highlight videos of his training, which you can't really go by because it's not real and it's all edited and all that good stuff. So in terms of his background, he doesn't really have any sort of fighting background. He's apparently been grappling in BJJ in his spare time for a few years, for whatever that's worth. I don't know about you, but his striking looked extremely stilted, especially defensively. He just looks bad in the highlights, whatever that they're showing of him. Maybe he'll come out and surprise, but Gall, at least, even though he's not beaten anybody significant and he's not a UFC level talent at this point, he's much younger, doesn't have all the wear and tear on his body, has already been in a couple fights and shown out in them against people that, he's supposed to beat, or that, I don't know that he was necessarily supposed to beat either of them, necessarily because he isn't a super high level dude, but he came out and was in actual fights and won, which is something you can't say of Punk. So I don't know. You're the wrestling head. What are your feelings on CM Punk?
They're two totally different things. I am a wrestling head, for those of you who don't notice or haven't known. Gall's going to storm in this fight.
Okay, I know. Yes, we're in agreement there, but I was just curious, what your opinion
CM
of
Punk's
him.
going to get off the top of the cage, throw his patented flying elbow, and hit him with the GTS, and 1, 2, 3, center of the ring. And then his music's going to hit.
Nice. All right, perfect.
And then I'm going to wake up, and Mickey Gall is going to run through this guy in the first round. I like CM Punk. It's cool that he's doing this. But, yeah, he has no shot. So let's look at the Las Vegas odds. CM Punk is a minus 800 favorite. I'm kidding. Mickey Gall is a minus 450 favorite. CM Punk is plus 325. The over-under is at 1.5 rounds, and it's favored to go under at minus 190. So looking at DraftKings, Mickey Gall is 11-4. CM Punk is 8,000. I'm so confident in this pick. I'm going to pay out for Mickey Gall in both formats. I think there's a lot of cheap value that we've already gone over. So I think Mickey Gall is a must in every single one of my lineups.
That's interesting. I feel like with a fighter that unproven, and I don't know. I think this is sort of the same thing that I was saying the last time that Gall fought when he was a big favorite over, what was his name? Michael something. Easy, dude. Anyway, Mike Jackson, I think. Yeah, Mike Jackson. Sort of the same thing I was saying then. Gall isn't like a proven commodity necessarily. I mean, he's not like a high level dude with a whole bunch of tape against like legit competition. So, screw ups are like not necessarily out of the realms of possibility for a dude of that caliber. But yeah, I just feel like the pressure is gonna be too much for Gall. But I don't know that I can necessarily for Punk. But I don't know that I can necessarily lock Gall into every one of my lineups. I think if you're gonna play him heavily, you might want to pivot with some Punk or something else. It's just it's too risky to like play one dude in all of your lineups. If he tanks or if the fight goes to decision somehow, then you're kind of sunk. So, any thoughts about that? Or
I'm gonna disagree. I just think he's a younger, more polished fighter. I mean, obviously he's not UFC polished, but I just think this old guy is coming in on a year's worth of training, and it's just, I think Gall storms him, and I'm pretty confident in that, unfortunately. So anyway,
fair enough.
Let's move on to the co-main of the evening. Heavyweight tilt, Fabricio Verdum versus Travis Brown. We can kind of break this down together. I think Verdum wins this fight. He's a developed Muay Thai lethal specialist at King's MMA under Rafael Cordero. Throws hard leg kicks, front kicks, flying knees, jumping knees. Took out Cain Velasquez's legs with kicks and tired him out, slowed him down. He's not afraid to get into the middle of the pocket and exchange. Throws all sorts of different level attacks. He's got this 1-2 lead uppercut, 2-3 combos, and he throws multiple punches at a time. He's not just going to set up one punch. In the clinch, he looks for Thai clinch knees very, very hard. He likes to trip his opponent's throws. Looks for knees off the break, and he's lethal in close in the clinch. When it comes to grappling, there's no one better. He is the GOAT at heavyweight grappling. He's got no problem on his back. He's going to give up takedowns sometimes because he's so confident in his guard with his background. He looks for guillotines all the time, wrist control, uses wrist control to set up his arm bars and triangles when he gets taken down. Looking at Travis Brown, he's athletic for his size. Is he still fighting at Rousey's camp?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. He throws nasty kicks, whipping kicks, body kicks, head kicks, front kicks. By doing that, he sometimes throws himself off balance. He loads up on his punches from time to time with haymakers and leaves himself open to counters. And, I mean, he's a heavyweight fighter. He's got huge power. That's coming. He's got good takedown defense, wicked elbows as he defends against double leg takedowns. But he doesn't usually exchange or doesn't usually initiate these grappling exchanges. So I just think Verdum is the more polished all-around fighter, and it's heavyweight MMA, so anything can happen. But I think this is Verdum all the way.
Yeah, I guess I agree with you there. He was the champion not long ago, and just kind of his own ego or just horrible game planning or strategy or whatever you want to say is why he's not champion now. And Brown's just not at that level. So, yeah, I don't know if I see a finish here for Verdum. He won their first fight by decision, I think, didn't he? Yeah, that was a 5-rounder. They fought in April 2014, which isn't that long ago, I guess. But yeah, Verdum just was the more all-around dude, like you said. I guess the one worry could be that Verdum is cracked now that Stipe just busted his chin wide open in his last fight. But until we kind of see a little bit more evidence, it's kind of hard to call that. So yeah, Verdum, I guess I'll pick him to win by decision, I suppose. But what do you think? You think he finishes?
Yeah, I think he finishes. I kind of cheated. I just looked at the Vegas odds, but yes, I do think he finishes the fight. in the second round, third round, something like that. Vegas has Verdum at -210 and Travis Brown at +165. Over-under is set at 2.5 rounds, and it's favored to go under at -145. DraftKings pricing, Verdum is 10,700 and Brown is 8,700. I see Brown as a GPP play. Verdum, I would play him in GPPs as well. I'd probably – I don't know if I'd pay him in cash. Probably, because I think he's going to win. I think he's the better fighter.
Yeah, that's a risky one. I don't know. I don't know that my final cash lineup will have him just because of the risk, but he's an option, I think, for sure.
All right, couldn't really give you an answer on that one. We're kind of up in the air. Let's move on. Main event of the evening: Alistair Overeem versus the heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic.
All right, so this is I think I favor Miocic here. I think he's just got more tools, but he's going to be in danger for a lot of this fight. His 2 losses in the UFC are sort of weird. He lost a decision, 5-round decision to Junior Dos Santos, in a pretty competitive fight. But he ended up getting outstruck as he tried to move forward and kind of pressure for a lot of the fight, and then he got knocked out by Stefan Struve, which is sort of random. It was a long time ago, one of his first fights in the UFC, and it's heavyweights, so that's going to happen, I guess. Overeem, obviously, super dangerous, but also much more chinny than Miocic, and so I think that Miocic, like I said, he's going to be in for a tough fight here. I think he really needs to be smart and kind of mix in his wrestling with his boxing, kind of use one to play off the other, threaten with the takedown, and use it to set up his striking, use his striking to set up level changes. I don't know that he's going to be able to double leg Overeem, but if he can kind of clinch up with him, threaten against the fence, because Overeem is very, very dangerous with clinch knees. But he's going to have to integrate his wrestling and his boxing, because he does do those things very, very well. But if he hangs around at range for a long time with Overeem, he could find himself on the end of some of these his brutal knees. He'll jump in with a knee, do a flying double knee, and his hands he showed against JDS are also lethal. So I think I pick Miocic to eventually put Overeem away, but it's with much trepidation that I pick that, I'll say, second round TKO for Miocic to retain.
Yeah, I like where your thought process is at. I agree with you. Overeem is he's elite, man. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough fight for both of these guys. Stipe, obviously, he's got the home crowd. And he's a solid fighter. So let's take a look at what Vegas has to say. Vegas has Stipe Miocic as a -145 favorite. The Reem comes in at +115. Here's a coin flip for you. The over-under is at 1.5 rounds. It's favored to go over at -120, and the under is -110. So they see a finish in this fight, I would assume. Let's look at DraftKings before I start blathering more. Alistair Overeem is 9,600 and Stipe is 10,000. This is going to be one of those fights where I don't think I can play it in cash, and I think I'm going to have exposure to both of these guys in GPPs.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll probably lean toward Miocic since we see him getting the victory, but you definitely want to have exposure to Overeem. For sure, and you definitely, I agree, you definitely can't play these guys in cash. So
GPPs. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Huh?
So is that a wrap?
Yeah, that's a wrap on that. Little quick show today, but hopefully we gave you guys some value. There's a lot of good opportunity down here for some salary relief, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out, as always. You want to run through our game real quick?
Sure. Just real quick recap of last week. We neither of us scored or lost anything. We both hit on our locks. Mine was yours was Gustafson and mine was Khabilov. The fight of the night was Arlovsky Barnett, and neither of us picked that. I picked Askren Hermanson, and you picked Hein Bang. And our stunners, we were way off. You said Latifi would finish Bader, and I said Macedo would finish Ashley Evans Smith, and neither of those things happened. In fact, the opposite happened in both of those fights, so we were way off. So you're still up 10-7.
All right, well, let's get rolling with this. The lock of the evening. I'll let you go first.
All right. The lock. I think I know where you're going.
Yeah.
I'll go, I guess I gotta go Lentz. There are a ton of, actually, no, you know what? Should I go Dalloway? Because Bahose is, I pretty much just want to pick against Bahose. I don't think I'm going to do that, though. I'm going to go Lentz, I guess. He's my lock.
I'm going with Gall.
All right. That was coming.
Fight of the night.
You're such a Punk hater.
No, it's not that I hate Punk. It's just, I just don't think, I mean, this is the first time in his career where he's fighting.
I got you.
Anyway, fight of the night. I'm going to pick this first. I'm going to go with Faber and Rivera. I think that's a war.
Okay.
Should I steal yours?
No, you're good. I'm going to go Verdun Brown.
Love it. You normally pick heavyweights as the snooze fest.
Yeah, I think that one would be good for as long as it lasts anyway.
All right, and our Stone Cold Stunner of the evening. The floor is yours.
The stunner. Who? Man, I don't know. Let's look at some of these finish odds.
Yeah, there's nothing that really jumps off the page.
I could pick Dalloway inside distance, but that's only plus 295. I could pick Andrade inside distance, but that's only plus 180. So those aren't really stunners. I picked Gonzalez. I think was that the only dog that we picked? That can't be right. Maybe it is right. Yeah, that's funny. Okay.
Well, there's one Stonewall Stunner of the night.
What's that?
That CM Punk finishes Gall. But that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. If you put that as your stunner, you should get like plus 5 in our game or something like that.
Good.
Yeah, man, I have no idea. You got an idea for a stunner? Gotta look at these.
Other than
since we don't look at the odds. Yeah, since we don't look at the odds beforehand, this makes
Overeem finishes in the first round.
Rivera knocks
out Faber.
I'd put that as a stunner if that's what you want to do. Rivera knocks out Faber. That would be stunning.
I'll take that.
Okay. I'll say McCall knocks out Borg. How about that?
I'll take it. That's fair. There's not too many crazy stunners available, so yeah, I'll take it.
All right. You want to do a snooze fest? I don't think we did that one yet. Yeah, bathroom break.
Jessica I and Correa.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my options. The other one then I will do. Where did it go? I guess Lentz and McBride. I think Lentz is just going to grind him into a pulp for as long as that fight lasts. So that's going to be my bathroom break fight of the night.
All right, guys, that wraps up the show. Hopefully you guys learned a few things and can put that towards making some money in DraftKings this weekend. Should be a fun weekend, fun card. It's in Cleveland. Supposed to be going to the fight because I'm very close to Cleveland, but my buddy decided to get married and chose me as the best man. So
what a jerk.
And I missed that, and then I'm missing Pitt versus Penn State, and it sucks. But hopefully I can sneak away from the wedding and watch these fights at a local establishment. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at DailyFantasyKO. Follow Josh on Twitter at
Stonewall MMA. Stonewall MMA.
Stonewall MMA. And Josh does write a blog for Low Kick MMA and Roto Grinders, so I'll let him tell you about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to, with school starting back up, I have much less time to write. Unfortunately, it's terrible, but I got to pay the bills. So, but yeah, for Low Kick, I think I'm going to start doing I hope that I can start doing this, a couple weekly pieces. One would be like a UFC newcomer thing, who's that guy, and then kind of like break down, kind of describe the UFC newcomers. In this case would be McBride and Gonzalez, and also maybe like a list of like 5 under the radar storylines from the card. So look out for those on Low Kick. I'll hopefully be able to have those out the next couple of days. And yeah, my blog on Roto Grinders you can find, if you do an opponent search, JDS86 is my tag or whatever you want to call it on there. So you can search that. The blog is also called Daily Fantasy Knockout. So that's where I kind of also give another breakdown. If you don't get a chance to listen to the whole podcast, you can kind of get the quick hits there.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for this edition. We'll be back. What's the next card?
It's UFC Fight Night, Poirier versus Johnson. Should be an awesome fight.
Okay, yeah, we should have a podcast out for that. We're trying to get them out on Wednesdays as always. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and good luck this weekend with your lineups, and hopefully you can make a bunch of money. Peace.
Peace.